Where is Edward Snowden right now?
As Julian Assange confirmed this afternoon on the telephone conference call, he is in direct contact with WikiLeaks, but at this stage they are not disclosing where he is. He is in good health, he's in high spirits, we understand, but they are not disclosing his whereabouts.
Can you tell me where he would like to go? Priority number one.
I understand my instructions are, and as has been widely reported, that he has now sought asylum from Ecuador and has made an application exercising his legal right under international law to seek asylum. That is now a matter for the Ecuadorian government.
As we mentioned, Jennifer, he is facing espionage charges in the U.S. He is the most wanted man right now for his leaks. We just heard Secretary of State John Kerry basically saying that people could die because of what he has done. So given all of that, in terms of this communication between WikiLeaks and Snowden, can you tell me just what is his demeanor like? How is he doing?
I'm not in direct contact with Mr. Snowden myself, but I understand that WikiLeaks are. They have said today that he has no regret about what he did and he feels that the disclosures that he made were in the public interest. Of course, it's important to focus on those disclosures. Mass surveillance by the NSA in breach of international law and constitutional law, mass breach of privacy for all Americans. I think Senator Kerry, the
Secretary of State
Kerry's response is very indicative and is reminding of the WikiLeaks disclosures. And of course, there were widespread comments about potential risk, but those risks did not materialise. I think it's important to focus on the public interest of Mr. Snowden's disclosures and, of course, emphasise his right to seek asylum under international law.
Can I just ask this? Is he nervous at all, according to people you talk to who are in communication with him?
All I understand is what WikiLeaks has disclosed today, which is that he's in good spirits and has made the asylum application.
Tell me this, Jennifer, how did this communication between WikiLeaks and Snowden begin? Who contacted whom?
Again, my instructions from WikiLeaks are that they were contacted and have decided that it is their mandate as WikiLeaks to facilitate whistleblowers' communication with the public where possible and to provide their resources to the extent that they have them to protect whistleblowers. On that basis, WikiLeaks decided to provide assistance to Mr. Snowden in facilitating his travel from Hong Kong to Moscow.
Okay, in listening and reading about this conference call this morning where Julian Assange was saying, let me just quote Julian Assange, obviously on the defense for Snowden, quote, "Every person has the right to seek and receive political asylum. Those rights are enshrined by the United Nations agreements of which the United States is a party." He went on, "It is counterproductive and unacceptable for the Obama administration to try and interfere with those rights." You can flip the question, Jennifer, and critics of that line of thinking would want to know, is it not counterproductive for WikiLeaks to be interfering with the U.S. government seeking a fugitive facing criminal charges here? What would WikiLeaks' response be?
WikiLeaks hasn't interfered. Edward Snowden, as was reported by the Hong Kong government, left legally and voluntarily from Hong Kong and has travelled to Moscow. There is no international warrant that has been validated in those jurisdictions that we're aware of as yet, so he was free to travel internationally. It is his right to seek political asylum under international law.
Even though the U.S. is seeking to find him based upon espionage charges and Julian Assange is in touch with him.
His right to asylum takes precedent over any other matter, and indeed the US itself recognises whistleblowing journalism as a basis for persecution for political opinion. So this is a recognised basis for which he can claim asylum, and that takes precedence.
Final question. I know WikiLeaks is picking up the costs for Snowden at the moment and as he might be in transit, but let's say if he winds up in Ecuador, how long does WikiLeaks intend to help Snowden financially?
I am not aware of those arrangements at present. All we know is what Julian Assange has said today in the press arrangement, which is that they assisted him to travel to Moscow and that they have facilitated communication with the Ecuadorian government. It is now a matter for the Ecuadorian government as to whether to accept that application, and what happens from here on in will be a matter for them.
Jennifer Robinson's live in London. Jennifer, thank you so much.